All right, so our speaker today has some really important things to say to us, and I know that because she always does, because she comes from out of the wilds and comes back down here to civilization, and she brings truths that are eternal. And it's Reverend Joyce Zorger.
Wow,
All right,
thank
Reverend
you.
Joyce.
Thank you. You're so sweet. Oh my goodness. Just before I left the house, and I always like to be on time, and I was looking at watching the clock. Is there something that you're pointing to? Is it some?
She's trying to find a table for you.
Oh, no, I don't need a table. That's okay. No, you go ahead, sit down. Thank you. Thank you. I've always had people looking out after me. I guess I'm getting old. I had an experience. Getting older, just being in the flow of the aging process, and I so appreciate all the work that Chris does to help remind us to take good care of ourselves and what we do and the sleep we get. And I have not been getting good sleep lately, Chris, because this mountain lion has been back every night, and my dogs are on high alert, and they wake me up and scratch at my door because I keep it locked. But because Toby knows how to open the door. It's one of these handles that you flap and you can open the bedroom door. And I have a 2-story house. He comes upstairs and opens the door and comes in. I'm afraid he's going to jump on my bed, but they're hearing this noise outside. And I went on to Siri. I says, "Hey Siri, what is the sound of a mountain lion?" And it gave me the sound, but it says that a mountain lion, I thought it was a male looking for a mate, but it was a female in estrus looking for a mate, and she's been around every night, and one of my good friends and neighbors saw it walking across her pasture, her horse pasture, at 9:30 in the morning. So she's very determined. She's out there during the night and even part of the day. But the reason why I'm holding this on my shoulder is because when I left, I was about to leave the house. I spoke to you back, I guess it was back in April, and I talked about intentional attention and talk about not having intentional attention this morning. This is what I did. And I like, Jan Morgan shares these wonderful stories, and I am sharing you stories of what happens to me, and I hope that maybe we can all learn from this, and maybe I can get beyond it and say, it's okay. I'm okay. And there's just things that I'm dealing with every day, and I know that it's all okay. We just move through the time, and prayer supports me. I know that for sure. So anyway, I'm about to open the door after I checked all the doors, make sure they're all locked, make sure the dogs are okay. They've been fed their breakfast. My horses have been fed. My cat has been fed. And I have been fed, and I was about to leave the house, and I thought, well, I had my purse on my shoulder. That's why I'm wearing it now. I had my purse on my shoulder, and I had my bottle of water. I'm going in the kitchen to fill it with more water. And I got distracted by a few other things, and then I'm going around looking for my purse. And I looked around for my purse. I looked around at least 5 minutes for my purse, and there it was on my shoulder. So I'm telling you this story because, it's okay. It's okay. I am not worried. I am still functioning okay. I can stand up here and talk. I can drive my car, and everything is hunky-dory. That's an old expression. Really, I know. This on prayer. And Chris, this morning you thought that justice was the theme for this month, but I love the songs that you sang. And I was almost called you, because the theme is prayer, and I almost called you to see if you would play I love the John Denver song, Poems, Prayers, and Promises. I love that song. But then it talks about sitting around the campfire and passing the pipe around, and I thought that might not be appropriate. So, even though it seems to be more appropriate in this day and age, but anyway, but anyway, another time and I'll know that it's okay if we sing it here, and you know it. You're the perfect couple to sing that song. But I love the songs that you sang, and I wasn't sure if I would be able to get through this morning after hearing Amazing Grace. I think we all have such an emotional attachment to that song, and just thinking about it now, I'm tearing up. And So thank you for sharing that song. And that other song that you sang, my gosh, that I want you to sing it more often. That's a beautiful song. You sang it once before here, and I just loved it, and hope you sing it again and again. So anyway, I like speaking on the first Sunday every other month because Nina and Jan are here to sing, and they always have such beautiful support in their music that they play. So I wanted to share, I love this Unity newsletter, and I hope you all read it this time. It was really a good one. Yes. I always copy it. It was wonderful, and it really, if you read this, you don't have to listen to my talk. You really, truly, it's, and it talks about the power of positive affirmation, exploring unity prayer and religious science treatment. And it's perfect. It lends itself so well to my talk this morning. And I think I've shared with you that I got involved in probably the 60s. During the 60s, I went to a religious science minister's home with a bunch of friends, and as she was an elderly woman, probably younger than me at this point, but anyway, she did such wonderful meditations and study. We had like a study group. And then I started getting involved in the Huntington Beach Church of Religious Science back probably it was in the 70s. And then in the 80s, it was a difficult time period for me during that time. And I remember having lunch with Nancy Johnson's mother, Joanne Johnson, and she has just been such a support to me in my religious or my spiritual journey, because she was the teacher of the classes that I took for my practitioner studies back in the 90s. And but it was in the 80s that when I was attending the church that I had to share this book, because this is what I promised myself, and I've shared this before, that I decided for this year, since my word for this year is wisdom, I'm going to read this again. And it's very daunting if ever you have read it, but this is something that has strengthened me. And I was going back and looking at some of the pages at the beginning, and I came across this, what I wrote in here. It was like a gift to myself, this book. I can't find a page. Okay, I wrote The Science of Mind, 50th Anniversary Edition. That's what this is. It says, purchased at the Huntington Beach Church of Religious Science, Aquarian Age bookstore in the fall of 1988 by Joyce C. Ziegler, that's me, as a gift to herself in honor of her birth years, 1938 and 1988. My birth years, I was 50 years old, and I was just a young chick at that time. But anyway, I'm an old chick now. Anyway, let me read this, what I wrote here about Ernest Holmes. I'm sorry, comment? True again. Oh, wow, you're oh, sweetheart, thank you. We'll meet afterwards. Okay, this is talk about attention, right? I got to pay attention. I wrote down here the book by Ernest Holmes. Ernest Holmes on Science, Philosophy, and Religion. The three areas science and mind is based upon. And I like this. The analysis of how that which is true works is what we call science. How that which is true works is what we call science. The analysis of the inquiry as to the reason it works that way is what we call philosophy. The inquiry as to the reason it works that way is what we call philosophy. The union of our own lives in a spiritual sense with that reason is the essence of religion, which is unification, not theology. Unification, not theology. Uniting with that power, and that's what my talk is today, using the power And it's there for us. There's a power for good in the universe, and we can use it, and to remember that. And I remind myself of that every day. That power is there. All I have to do is open to it, be aware of it. That's what holds us back, if we're not open and aware of it. I wrote this, most of you know that I've been through a lot in the last few years. My husband passing in 2022. 2023 was the devastation of landslides all over my property, mud and muddy water throughout the bottom floor, 3-4 inches of muddy water. Everything was devastated on the bottom floor. This was a prayer that I wrote for myself, and it helped me throughout those days. In this peace that holds me so gently, I find strength and protection from all fear and anxiety. It is the peace of God in which I feel the love of a holy presence. I am so conscious of this love, this protection, that every sense of fear slips away from, and as mist falls or fades in the morning light, I see good in everything, God personified in all people. Life manifests in every event. No matter what I am going through, I am enfolded in God, in God's presence. And as I know this for me, I know this for each one of you. This is a real powerful prayer for me. It helped me through those times when I was, I never really had doubt. I just felt that strong support of my prayer practice, my spiritual practice, and the people in my life. And that was the time that I reached out to people. When I live out where I do, in a very remote area, pretty much, I do have wonderful neighbors, and they were checking on me now and then. But it's important for me not to become isolated. For anybody, as we're moving through the aging process, that's one of the key things to remember. Don't ever isolate yourself, and don't wait for someone to call you. Call the person, call the people that you know in your life. I keep track of all my girlfriends that I've had. I have a girlfriend that I had in high school. She's Phyllis, and I keep in touch with her. And the interesting thing we were sharing, I also have. Well, I'm getting really off track here because I'm thinking about Phyllis and how she and I put together our grandson and granddaughter together. They're now an item together, and we were the wingmen for that relationship. And I love that story, and I've known her since high school. She and I played tennis together in high school, and she lives in Atascadero, and wonderful, wonderful woman. And it's just, I feel we create the blessings in our lives by what we do and how we connect with other people. And the prayers that we say, that we open to and open to receive, just know that it's up to us. And the power, what we put out there is something we put out into the universe, our universal intelligence. And we receive back all that we need to know. I have this, what I said about to use the power for our highest good, we must believe in this power. We must believe in this power is right where we are. We must realize this power flows through us, operates in us, as us, and is us. I like that we must realize this power flows through us, operates in us, as us, and is us, this power that God is, this presence. We can say God, we can call universal presence. We are each that individualized presence within us, the individualized power of God within each one of us. God's power is individualized in us. I like this, that from 2 Timothy 1:7, for God did not give us a spirit of cowardice, but rather a spirit of power and love and of self-discipline. Unity and Science of Mind is based on that affirmative prayer. We call it in spiritual mind treatment, we call in religious science spiritual mind treatment, and in Unity it's affirmative prayer, but basically spiritual mind treatment is affirmative prayer and is allowing And the word allow is so important, to allow this presence to express in and through us. It's always there at our opening to it. You know, some people live miserable lives, but they believe that their life is miserable and nothing's going right. But it's what we believe that moves us forward in this life. This is an affirmation that empowers me. God is the one power and presence in my life. I have the wisdom to know what needs to be done, the strength to do it, and the faith to overcome any fear. This is a real powerful affirmation for me. And whenever, even with this mountain lion skirting around in my area, you know, I know that there's enough food out there for it. And I've been living there for 27 years on Feather Ranch, and I know that I just have this strong faith that all is well, and my animals are safe, and I move through each day knowing that. I love the fact that I have that Siri, that I can ask Siri for sounds. And I think I shared with you, the woodpeckers they destroy my home, and I've had to have all the wood replaced around the window. And they're poking holes in the wood and planting the acorns, waiting for the acorns to rotten. And then the bug that gets inside the rotten acorn, they eat that. Well, I have found a solution. I had to have all those replaced. But the solution is, when I hear that, knock, knock, knock on the wood, I get my phone out and I say, "Hey Siri, what is the sound of a red-tailed hawk?" And that works miracles. And so I'm outside on the porch, going around like this, chasing all the woodpeckers away, and they scatter. And I haven't had a problem like I've had before. What is the sound? And so I count on Siri to help me through these days. He said, Okay, I wrote this down. We have free will and choice. Our thinking processes are under our personal control. Thought is based upon by the creativity of mind or state of consciousness. Results are produced according to our belief. It's according to our belief. What we believe, we receive. Through our belief and conviction, we provide patterns for its manifestation. All thought is creative. To remember that, because we create a cause and effect. So the cause is our thought, and the effect is the effect of what we were thinking about. It comes to be. Creative mind is God power within each of us. Omnipresence of God is the made in the image and likeness of God, are not simply abstract theological concepts, but practical and important truths that we live by. We are made in the image and likeness, but it's the image and likeness within us that is that power that expresses, that we can connect with, that we know, and we know that we know. I think that's also very important. I like that, to remind myself that. Put my book down. I did read, I read that. Okay, I put down here that this power is the energy by which everything lives, moves, and has its being. This energy is the creative medium of spirit through which all law and all power operate. Our thoughts set the law in motion. Our choices specialize the results. Our thoughts set the law in motion, and the law is what responds to us. Just as the word, I speak my word, and this is what we say in the prayer, in the spiritual mind treatment. I speak my word, and I'll give a spiritual mind treatment in just a little while. In Ernest Holmes, in his book, The Science of Mind, he tells us the gifts of heaven come alike to all. How we use these gifts is what matters. Raymond Charles Baker, in his book, The Power of Decision, and the spiritual mind treatment that I'm going to do is on decision, because I'm having some decisions I need to make, and it helps me to read this, and I would share it with you. So Raymond Charles Baker, in his book, The Power of Decision, writes, all of what we do begins and ends in conscious decision making. and what we decide to do, how we decide our day is going to be. I have a real close friend that we text each other in the evening, in the morning, and mostly just evenings and mornings, and kind of set us for the day. And I will have a word for the day. And she's a very spiritual person, as well as I feel I am. And we connect with that power on a daily basis, and we share a lot of things that help us throughout the day. And then we kind of encapsulate the day and how it has been for us. And it's really helpful to have somebody that you can share what's going on in your life, and know that that person is listening and knows. And it's good to have friends, and to be a friend is most important. You know, I can sit all day and nobody could call, but I can pick up the phone and make those calls. It's up to me. It's up to me if something's going to be. That's what I tell myself. So when we make a decision, when we set our intention, when we speak our word, all the forces in the universe supports its manifestation. So our word, to know that our word is powerful. The Science of Mind treatment for scientific prayer, or what may be referred to as affirmative prayer, has 5 steps. And I like when I do a prayer treatment for myself or for someone else, I go through the 5 steps in my prayer. And the first step is recognition that God is everywhere present, in and through in all life. And I wrote this, there is but one mind, it is omnipresent, it is all there is. Everything visible and invisible is a manifestation of this one mind, the results of its creative action and the becoming of that which it creates. And the step 2 is unifying, and this is, unity, and unity and spirit and science of mind, or religious science. Now it's called spiritual centers of creative thought, but they blend so well together. And this is why I'm here. Instead of searching out a religious science church, I'm here because I believe in the unity practices, and they're so copacetic with science of mind. Really, it's my home now. It's my home. Step 3. So step 1 is recognition that God is everywhere present. Step 2 is unifying with that present. Step 3 is the realization step. And this is where it varies from prayer. When we pray and beg and plead, this is not about begging, pleading. It's about realizing the truth at the end result. And this is why it's so important, that realization step. We affirm or make real within our consciousness, along with creative mind, that which we desire to be so. This is the creative manifestation of our free will and choice that does no harm. It is realizing for ourselves, for anyone for whom we treat, the highest and greatest good. All said in the now or present tense, thus making it real. We say it in the present tense, making it real. Rather than looking forward, not using words that this will happen, but is happening now. It is happening now. And then and of course we're all, with appreciation, we're filled with gratitude for knowing these truths. This comes to pass. These things that I have put into that realization step are in fact working now and happening now. And that is the creative power that is happening now by my thoughts. And then I release that into the creative power and action of the law. The law is always open. It is. It has no favorites. I mean, it's whatever I open to, I receive. And so I have faith that I open to release these words into the creative power of the law of mind and action, and letting go and letting God, and finally declaring, and so it is. And so I allow it to be. And that's important. I add too. I allow it to be. I once heard about a child's prayer, and I love this because I can do an instantaneous 5-step spiritual mind treatment. God is, this is the child, this recognition. I am, all is well, thanks, goodbye. God is, the recognition, all is well. I am, the unifying with that. All is well, realization, thanks, goodbye. And if you are in a hurry and you know nothing else you have no time to say anything more, use that child's prayer, because it can be very powerful. God is, I am, all is well, thanks, goodbye. Here's an example of a spiritual mind treatment to help with the power of decision. So if you want to just go into this place of relaxation, don't cross your legs, just release, take everything off your lap so you're not distracted. As I read this spiritual mind treatment to help with the power of decision. And so we take a deep breath and just be here now. There is one infinite intelligence, and I am its action, its outlet, and its process of revealing itself. It knows me as itself, and I know myself as it. Therefore, I am never indecisive. I always have the right idea at the right time. Infinite intelligence in me knows what to do. And this knowledge is mine in every instant. Original thinking pervades my consciousness, and I am correctly decisive regarding all matters. I know what I need to do at the instant I need to know it. The results of this correct knowing bring forth new and improved situations in all areas of my life. For this I am grateful. I release my word into the creative power and action of the law, knowing the results are for my highest good. And so it is. And so it is. And so I allow it to be. And I have to tell you, when I was walking around the house looking for my purse, I said a prayer. I said, my purse reveals itself to me. And right at that instant, it was on my shoulder, on my left shoulder. Hello. It works, people. It works. So I know that each one of us is on our own spiritual path of unfolding, and may we find our inner light. No one can do it for us. It is up to each one of us to access the power of good within. To access the power of good within. We all have that power within. Access it, believe in it, open to it, receive it. That I like to say, that which I am seeking, I am. I am an individualized expression of the one life which I choose to call God. And I think of God as good, the good in my life, the beneficial. Someone once said to me, faith is a mental assertion elevated to the place of realization. I know, and I know that I know. I like that. I know, and I know that I know. So that you can use as well. You know, I'm sharing all these good things with you today. Believe me, they work. I wouldn't be standing here today or this morning if I didn't know this, and I'm an example of that. So I hope you understand that, even though I walk around the house looking for my purse. But you know, that's the human side of me, right? And I said my prayer, and it was revealed to me. There's a negative faith just as there is a positive faith, and fear and worry are examples of this negative faith. So we label effects as good or bad, but it's all the creative power. We have to understand that too. So remember this, it's up to each one of us to align ourselves with the good that is ever present. By doing so, we open ourselves to a world of possibilities. And I think I may have gotten some of this from that wonderful Unity newsletter that I don't know who wrote, probably you, Brian, but I get so much out of the Unity newsletters. You've got to read them, folks. You're going to miss out if you don't. So when we use this power as a force for good in our lives, we become masters in our lives, masterminds, if you will. We are set free to be all that we can be in pure potentiality. I love that. I love words that rhyme too. It just comes together. So that's my message this morning, folks. I hope you can take some of that with you, and God bless you, each one of you, on your journey of spirituality. Thank you.